So after spending 2 weeks guys building a structure, now in this video I'll be taking you through the process of brooding chicks, broiler chicks to be specific, from day 1 all the way to week 6 when they're ready for harvesting, and that should be around 2 to 2.5 kilos. That when they're ready for market. Now we'll be taking the process of brooding all the way to vaccinations and all the activities that took place within this period. So stay tuned. So guys, it's at night. Let's see, this is an awful way of making a video, but let's see how our brood is going on. So we've just been prepping for tomorrow's arrival of so I'm expecting around 500 to 550 broiler chicks. So as you can see, we have our feet there. I think, let me just turn on the lights. Yeah, so we have feeds there, some containers there, that's just for feeding. And then some charcoal here, pretty expensive charcoal, but hopefully it will be helpful. Yeah, these are 3 bags, so they should last for like what, brooding supposed to take the maximum is 2 weeks, so I think that should be enough. So I think you still have some dirt here. You have more lights there. We because we don't have a direct access to, not really direct, but a reliable source of power here. So sometimes you find that when the rains come, the power suddenly disappears. So that's why we have these are some backup lights there, just for I bought several, as you can see, just for backup lights. That's what they do. And I think this has to be removed, gotten rid of some stuff we are using here during the day. So yeah, this is the brooder. So I know it's a bit dark, but you can see on the sides you have some curtains made from the bags that I've been using. I've been storing these bags for a while, just knowing that they will serve this purpose. Just knowing that, I knew that they would serve this particular purpose right here. So let's see, this is our water connection. It's not being used right now, but it should be used later. As you can see, I think this is the entry. Yeah, so the entry to our brooder is right here. Wow, so what do you think, guys? Look at this. So we have it's a pretty standard setup. We have a stove right there. It's not really open yet, working yet. We have some well, this is not really done at this particular time. These are cup feeders. We'll start using them on probably week 3, week 2, week 3, towards the end of week 2, I believe, because the chicks should be tall enough to actually reach this height. So we have our tank right there. We did some connection, but it's pretty generic. It's not that professional, but you learn 1 or 2 things when you build a house. You actually learn a number of things, from maybe welding. I've actually learned a lot about that. So if you give me a plumbing job, I should be able to do it. So the pipes run all the way to that section right there, and then all the way to that. Just take off my shoes first, step into this. So this is a basic brooder like that. We have a cover paper right there, just to trap some heat so that it doesn't escape here. And then the space should be enough for 500 broilers right here. We have as usual, we have to use a brooder paper, but I have no idea where they sell that. So I've asked several agrovets, but no one is selling that piece of paper. So I decided to use this waterproof thing here. I'll be using that for now. That tarpaulin for now. Just to make sure that this water is, these pipes are raised so that the chickens don't actually, get trapped in them. The chicks actually don't get trapped in that. Or hopefully should serve its purpose, well. without any problems in that. So look at this, we have our I think I upgraded to, you know, a number of equipment. You know, as you raise your chicks over a number of years, you will find that there are some, you know, equipment you just have to go with, you see. And one of them is this thermometer. This is actually a hygrometer. This is for measuring temperature and humidity, as you can see that. So right now the lowest is actually 19.5 degrees Celsius. This is way too low, and that's, I've placed it, it's hanging just way close to the floor, because that's the truest temperature, not really close to the stove. The stove is a bit, you know, 2-3 meters away, actually 2 meters away from that, and it's actually hanging right there, as you can see. Look at that. So now we have not, you know, started the stove yet, but when it starts, we'll have to look at the changes in temperature to see if it's it rises actually to the required, which is 30 watt. It will be 31-32 degrees room temperature right there. So it should be that one here. That should be the room temperature. So it's a pretty standard space. As you can see, you have I haven't, you know, put the water there, but I'll be using this. And when you start the stove, you notice that there's some heat which is being which emanates from the stove. So that's why I put these two timbers here, just to raise the stove and actually make sure that the stove is actually raised, so that the heat, not so much heat, reaches the this paper right here, because this is basically plastic. I think it's covered with plastic. It's waterproof tarpaulin. So I think on top the blue section is covered with plastic, and then this is this, what is that material? Manila? I don't know, something like that. So you know, this is basically what it serves. So it should really be helpful, and the room is pretty big. Now if the stove is being rather, we place the stove at the center of the room, it's not really that noticeable, but it's actually close to the center. It's actually difficult to place, you know, the stove towards the center of the room, because, you know, on the edges you can see we have some paper here, still the same, you know, some paper that we have been storing for quite some time, for over a year now, just to use for this particular purpose. So when you come to this particular timber right here, it is being raised so that we place water on top of it, so that, you know, okay, so it's okay, you can place food on this paper so that the chicks feed from there, but water, you don't want to spill it. You don't want to have it spilled directly on that piece of paper right there. So that's why we, you know, we placed these timber right there. I didn't want to use bricks because, well, they're a bit dirty, and it's been rainy season, so they've gathered a lot of soil on them, so I didn't want to bring that in here. So that's our tank. We should be filling it very soon. So its general idea is to cover the, you know, the corners with a plywood like that, piece of plywood like that, so that you don't want the chicks hiding in an area like that, in those dark spaces, you know. So anyway, you'll find some squeezing through maybe spaces like this, because it's a pretty huge space. I don't know, is it visible? No, is it? Let's see, it should be visible, yeah. So in such spaces you'll find that you know, some chicks squeezing through that, and then you'll find them, you know, the chicks are, you know, they remain to be chickens, so they're that quirky, you know, they can actually go through, you know, any, you know, small space you can find here. So that's why we place these plywood right there. Now they're top of them, so on the other side you can also see it. So that's just to protect the corners. Another reason is actually to prevent them from crowding, and then in these actually corners, so that, you know, they don't suffocate. This pipe runs through this, but there's some water dripping through it, so it's actually should go in this one, but it's closed. I placed a lid over it because I've actually done some spraying in this room. The final spraying I did, the first spraying I think 5 days ago, and then this is the second and final one, so that you know, you don't want to bring the chicks and then suddenly you get diseases. The chicks start getting diseases, bacterial diseases, so you don't want that. So spraying helps with that. I think our fire is starting. There's some smoke in it, so I'll add some charcoal on the stove so that I monitor the temperature, and I'll be showing you very soon how that changes. Yeah, so right here, this is the, you know, the safe one, the safe disinfectant that you are using. Now it doesn't have any smell, particularly odd, those awful smells like the Carol one that I showed you in the previous video. This one is pretty safe. I think it's actually safe to the chicks also. So this one you can use it anytime in the food bath, like this one that you have like right here. So we couldn't make actually a hole outside so that to place the water in, so we're just using this you know, plastic one. So we have plastic jerry can, we cut it into half, and then there you have your footpath right there. So should be restricting movement. It should work. Generally it should work. Now for feeds, we are starting with the, you know, these are starter what? Starter crumbs. Is there a name for it? Let's see. Yeah, these are starter crumbs. So we did some mathematics or calculations there, and then so generally you should have, you know, these are how many bags? These are 8. Is it 8 or 9? 8 or 9. These are 2, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, 9. These are 9 bags. So hopefully they should serve us for the next 2 weeks. Next 2 or 3 weeks. Yeah. So they should serve us for that long. So hopefully we did some mathematics based on you know, a company in Uganda. That's how they feed them, and then we arrived at actually 9 bags. Actually they're supposed to 8, but the 9 was actually for extra, you know, just in case the chicks develop an even higher appetite, or an oddly higher appetite for, you know, feeds. And it should, you know, hopefully it should get there. This is my first time doing this, so I have to make sure that, you know, most of the things are in order. Most, if not 100%, most of the things are in order. And I'm actually in a hurry because I placed the chicks, you know, I placed an order for the chicks, you know, just a week before the delivery. So it has taken me like 5 days to prepare all this, to bring in the, you know, the sawdust, all that, and then you know, bring in the feeds, you know, all this work has been done in a hurry. So, and this me being my first time, it should actually, you know, I have to make sure that it works. It has to work so that, you know, I recuperate the money I put in back, because this is way too much. This is a lot of money for first timer. This is a lot of money for, you know, this particular kind of project. So that's why you have to make sure that everything is, if not 100%, 99% done. And to this particular point, we have our feeders, we have our drinkers, we have our, you know, feeding traps like that, as you have seen. So which means everything is ready. So just waiting for the chicks to pick them tomorrow, and then we start our brooding, you know, sort of season. So this is not the first time I'm brooding chicks. Generally, I've done this so many times since 2022. So I started this business way earlier, so it shouldn't be a problem brooding. But since this is a particularly different breed, and this is my first time doing it, you know, you get worried a bit. You get you know, anxious, a little bit anxious. So because of that, and because generally you want things to go well, you want the project to work, you want the, you know, everything to go well. Let's look at our temperature. I think our stove is 30. you can see clearly, you can see some smoke in it. So you want everything to actually work well. Yeah, you can see it's rising 19.7. It was 19.4, and then it's rising slowly by slowly, and then the humidity is at 76. Lots of moisture. Okay, so you want everything to work. Generally, you want, if it's your first project, you want most of the stuff to work. You see, so that you recuperate back your, the money that you have put in. So that's it, guys. See you in the next few days with another video. I'll be showing you the brooding process. The challenges. Should there be deaths as expected? If they are not expected, maybe there's a win for me, big win for me. But I should be taking you through the process so that you learn something, one, two or three things or lessons from these particular experiences that I'm going through. Okay, so this is like 10 minutes later. So you can see as the fire goes on there, burns in there. You can see the closest temperature to the stove is actually 31 degrees, like that. So this is the area mostly you find the chicks crowding here. This is the perfect temperature for them. So I won't be putting food there because that's the place where they'll be sleeping. Most likely they should be sleeping here, right here. So let me just put this farthest from the stove so that you see the difference. So I put it in that corner here. It's a perfect corner for the chicks. You have that plywood there. It's just pretty warm. Let's see what happens. So guys, obviously the chicks have arrived, and so you can see here they are from the company, biggest company in Kenya right now, Ken Chick. And so the first thing, of course, you have to do is count the chicks. As you can see, I'd already prepared the brooder, placed some water there with the vitamins in it. So let me do the counting of chicks just to make sure they're okay, the number is okay, and then we'll continue with the process. So this is like 1 hour later. So we just brought in the chicks, and you can see the distribution is pretty well. A while ago some were sleepy, and I think we just lost some to. Have we really lost some? I think this one. Look at it. These tiny feathers have been deformed like that because it's actually stepped into those big 5-liter, like the one at the top right there. It stepped in it. I just realized it's a big one, and therefore the chick can actually step into the water and then sort of drawn into that small amount of water. So hopefully this should be well. I mean, it's very hot in here. The temperature is okay. Let's look at the temperature and just show you that. You have to walk carefully because you can easily step into onto the chick anytime. So let's look at the temperature. It's very far away. 31.8, 8.8.6. Yeah, so that's perfect. That's supposed to be 32. The ground temperature, the floor temperature is probably 32 degrees, but that one is 31.8. So that's okay. It's okay. Some chicks are sleepy, very sleepy. Like those ones are sleeping. You can see that. Some are sleeping in the distance right over there. You can see that. So we have placed some feeds on, on feeders right there. Those are actually our feeders, which should be using in the next maybe 2 weeks. So what I've done is that I've actually used them as maybe feeding trays for now. So let's see if the chickens recognize the food and then they start feeding. That is what we want actually, for them to start feeding so that they pick up on weight and they don't remain in this particular situation. Let me just show you what happened right here. So we have made sure that the feeders or the feeding trays in this case are well distributed right there. Brightly colors are colored. That's best to attract the chick. You can see that right here, and the chicks are right there like that. So yeah, so this is what I wanted to show. So this giant 5-liter drinker, this is what we got rid of. I've actually removed all of them from this particular section because I came close to losing 2 chicks. Now I don't know, the one that I've just showed you, I don't know if it will survive because getting in contact with water in the first day, it's not really a good thing, for a chick. It's not really a good thing. So hopefully it should be able to survive. I'll be lucky if it does. So these are the drinkers I've actually removed. Just show you some of them. Yeah, some of them are right here, so I just removed those. There were like 4. These are feeds right here. Just giving them small quantities to see if they peak in terms of consumption, the speed in terms of consumption. They should be able to be given full amount, so for them to actually pick on weight. That's exactly what we want. So guys, further update is actually, what time is it? It's close to 1 a.m. It's actually 12. So you can see the chicks are asleep. So this is like I think 8 hours later, and we've had one casualty. The chick that fell in water, I think is the one that passed away. I mean, I made some various mistakes when lighting up the fire. Maybe you can see the fire is well lit right there, and the chicks are asleep. Now if they are not underneath let me just turn on the light. So when they are not sleeping under the stove right there, because that's where they crowd most of the time when it's cold, that the temperature is okay, and therefore it's very hot there, so you see them moving away from the stove like that. So at that position, so they're just sleeping right now. So you can see some of them, they look dead, but they're actually asleep like that. Further distance all the way to that, as you can see, like that. And then there are more way above or way outside that area of the stove where it's very hot. So this is the update so far. These are 12. It's like 8 hours later. They came in at 2, so that should be what, 8 hours? Should be 8 to 10 hours later. So that's the situation so far. So we'll keep monitoring the birds. Throughout the night I slept for like 1.5 hours and then just wake up. We check on the lights. This is the first 3 days, rather the first week is actually the hardest part of the brooding process. It's actually the hardest because you have to be alert all the time, because anytime maybe the fire could run out. As you can see in the pounding on the, as you can hear that there's a pounding on the iron sheets. That means that it's raining. At some point we lost power. I'm very lucky, but because it was just for a short period of time. And you see, those are some of the problems depending on your location. Those are some of the challenges you have to deal with at that particular time when you are doing brooding. So that's why we are lucky enough we got these we invested some small money in these backups. So these power backups that are on just in case the power goes off and I'm asleep. So you can see, look at those, they're just asleep. Seems like I'm disturbing them. So they sleep for like 30 minutes at most, and then they wake up to continue eating. Now another progress, we have noticed that the poop is getting darker, which means the chickens are feeding well. Look at that. So the chicken poop is darker. You can see from this one. Is it really? Yeah, you can see the poop, the stain is very dark, by the way. So which means the chickens are eating, and looking at some of them, you can see that if you apply some pressure, little pressure on this the crop, you can see it's full. You see, so let's pick the one which is asleep just to confirm that. So it's a full crop, that's why it goes to sleep. You see, yeah, it's a full crop. It's too bright, you can't really see that, but the crop is actually full. So they're eating small amounts, but they are doing the eating. So most of them, I believe all of them are doing the eating. All of them are eating right now. So which is a good thing. You want the chickens to start eating as early as possible and drinking a lot of water at that particular time, so that you want them to pick on the weight. At first the poop was just water, so that's like a stain like that. It is just water, you can see, and then some dark shades in it, so which means some little foods in it. So they're eating. You can see the the brooding section is getting dirtier with poop actually, so it's getting dirtier like that. So it means they're eating and they're drinking. Now you don't want to make a mistake of bringing in too many drinkers, because these chickens, they're not even drinking that much. You see, this is the one, they're not drinking that much of water. You see, I brought in these are what, 5 liter? Is it 3 or 4.5 liters of drinkers? There are like 3 of them, and they are not even complete, finished in this case. And I placed them way early in the morning before the chicks arrive, so they're not even finished. Some of them are. So this is the day 2, guys. Probably day 1, because this is the time the chicks came in. Was it yesterday? So as you can see, we have some chicks there. I'll come to that later. Oh, this one is trying to come out. So let's see the progress. It's 1 p.m. so it's very hot in here, and you can see we have the activity has increased, although some chicks are sleepy. You see, they want to be close to the heat, so I think I'll have to keep the temperature at that one, just like yesterday, so that we maintain that heat, the temperature that is needed, which is that one. But the activity has improved, guys. You can see the feeds are slowly but slowly decreasing. The amount of feeds I placed from these trays, you can see it's slowly, the amount is getting smaller, which means they're feeding. And you can see the poop is a lot. It's getting more on these papers that we put on the floor, so it's getting dirtier like that by the minute. So, and I just noticed that this is a 3 liter container, and then that one is also a 3-liter container. That one is also a 3-liter container. So these are 6 liters. But when I came in a few minutes ago, I found that 2 of them have been exhausted. So which means they have consumed so far 6 liters. I think that one still remains. There's a lot of 6 there. So it's a bit hot. I mean, it's very hot. So that's where you can see there's a lot of activity around the drinkers. The chickens are consuming water just to cool down. Like that. Now let me go back to the story of these chicks which are on this other side. I just came in with them. Oh, sun's coming out. It's going out. Let's see. Now these ones just came in. They have a very long story, but let me count them first so that we continue. Yeah, so I just counted them. They are okay. There are 30 of them, as it says on the paper. My name there, and then 30 birds. So it's weird. These are 30 pieces. So what happened is that yesterday, which was on a Tuesday, my chicks were supposed to arrive yesterday on a Tuesday, which is that's the time I place an order, which should be like a week ago on 1st of June. So expecting them within 10 days, they should be ready, all of them. So the confusion came in when you have to go to the pickup station. You have to changing pickup stations or collection points in this case, because the company are collected from, their collection point is very far away. It's very far away because, as you can guess, I'm deep in the village, but it's not very deep, but it's way way far away from any city, any closest city. I think the closest city, and which is the collection point, is actually what, 50-60 kilometers away. So that's that's quite some distance. And traveling with chicks, guys, it's public transport. I don't have a car right now, but moving them with in public transport, it's hectic, and it's not actually safe. You don't want to have bundles and bundles of chicks on top of cars, or maybe they are sealed somewhere at the back of vehicle, and it's very hot. Some of these vehicles, it's very hot, and the conditions are just horrible. So you don't want your chicks, and which you have put in a lot of money, by the way, you don't want to be in that condition when they being transported. So you want them to get to a place where you can collect them safely by yourself, and using the most safest, if you consider the safest mode of transport, if you can access that. And that's what you want. In general, you want them to get home safely, get to the brooder safely. So that was the confusion yesterday. These ones, I just picked them today. Now because I picked them today, I'm assuming that these 6 were, let's say, born or hatched on Monday. I'm assuming that was Monday, and then they did vaccinations. And then so they should have been hatched on maybe Sunday, Monday. And then they did vaccinations on Monday, and then Tuesday they dispatched them. So I'm assuming this is their 3rd day of survival. So generally they should be okay. And they shouldn't have any maybe difficulties in maybe taking water, because that's quite some time, and they have gone through different points of travel. So they should be exhausted at this particular time, but I'll be monitoring them to just look at the progress, and to ensure that I've actually mixed them together, so I won't really tell. I think that's a mistake. I won't really tell which is which, because they were pretty exhausted, because this should be their 3rd day. This is the 3rd day, and they should be, I mean, there's a lot of exhaustion there. I don't know how to go about that. So it's day 4. Now this is rather day 3. This is the 3rd day since our chicks came in, and it's a bit dark. I think I should put on the light. Let's see. Yeah, here we go. That's better. So this is the 3rd day. As you can see, we have made some changes. So you can notice that the brooder paper, or the one that I was using, is actually, we have removed them, because I actually removed them yesterday, because on the 2nd day, because there was a lot of poop on it, so it wasn't really necessary to keep having it throughout the third day. Now make sure you have to remove the broiler paper by the third day, because at that particular time the poop is so much, considering the number of chicks that you have. Here we have 530. We brought in 530, but some have died. I come back to that. So you have to remove the broiler paper by the third day, because most of the time that is the day the chicks, they have pooped a lot on that broiler paper, and they are eating some of that poop, and that's the problem. It will actually cause various bacterial infections like coccidiosis. So that's why you have to remove it by the third day. Now another change, as you can see, look at the chicks, the feathers are growing. I really don't have to point, but you can see the feathers, the white feathers are coming up, and this should be a good thing, because the first week of brooding, guys, that's actually the toughest of these chicks. Is actually the toughest and the most vulnerable part of these chicks. So the fact that we have feathers coming out on the third day, as you can see, it means the chicks are growing really fast, and this should be good, because it means that maybe in the next by Monday or Tuesday, which should be the 1 week, should be clocking in by 1 week, the feathers should have come out maybe an inch or 2 or maybe 3 inches, and that should be enough to actually cover the chick so that it's able to save some energy. So which means by next week, guys, I should be able to save some energy in terms of the amount of fuel I'm actually using right now, because I'm using a lot of charcoal to actually do this. I thought it would be cheap, but charcoal is actually very expensive. I'll be making another video now to give you the alternative to charcoal, which is much cheaper compared to charcoal, because I'm using a lot of it. You can see my stove is very big, and rather my jiko is very big, and it's it's a big one, and it takes a lot of charcoal. It can take literally half a bag of charcoal, guys. So that's a lot. That's a lot, and it's open on both sides, which means it doesn't really conserve that energy. In terms of it doesn't really conserve the energy. So there's a big disadvantage for that. Now, as you can see, so those are some of the changes. Two changes we have made so far. So the chick should be able to scratch. I've seen some scratching on the floor. If you can look at this floor clearly, you can see some pecking just on the floor, pecking some litter on the floor. Now you can see we have some brownish yeah, this is what I was talking about, some brownish stool right there. So that's what you call now the cause of that could be coccidiosis. That is the most common one, because there was a lot of poop on the broiler paper, or there's a lot of how do you call this? Now there are a lot of imbalance in terms of maybe protein content in the feeds that you have. So starter cramps have a lot of protein, so that could be a cause. But I've given them some antibiotics. This is the third day, so it should be okay. I've given them some antibiotics, and let me see how that goes. If continues like this, and then I'll know it is actually the imbalance in terms of the the feeds that you have. There is too much protein, or too much protein in this case what do you call this, soya actually in the feed. So try to remove that. I don't want them pecking in it. That's it right there. So that's it, guys. That's it for the third day. And I should be making this. I will be making these continuously throughout the brooding period, throughout the rearing period, and to the point where you're making cells, so that you actually see how to go about it. Now in terms of losses, I've actually lost 9 today, 9 chicks today. So by today, not actually today, 9 chicks so far. So the problem is that you'll notice that some of the chicks are very underweight. By underweight means the chicks are very tiny, guys. So these are companies, these hatcheries, actually they don't really sort out their chicks. They actually give out chicks which are underweight, and some of the chicks have undeveloped navel. So the navel is the thing that the umbilical cord or something like that, that is attached to the to the egg when the chick comes out. So this part is not really developed. This one is a big one. It's a big one. Look at this. I don't know. This one is nicely developed. But if it's not developed, you'll find that this part is actually, you know, this navel part here is actually not developed. Therefore there's a dark spot right there. So if you have chicks and you notice that, it means the navel was not fully developed. Now the companies that supply the chicks don't really sort out that issue. So there's a problem. They don't sort out the chicks. They don't sort out the underweight chicks. Some of are very tiny. I can't really find the one, but I've picked out some, like 3 or 4, I think 4 chicks which are very tiny. They have no weight at all. So which means that those chicks will never survive, even if I do what, even if you give them what. They just came out, they had just hatched badly. Maybe the conditions were not right for them in terms of hatching, so they did not absorb all that nutrients that is needed. That's why their bodies are very tiny, guys. And the other problem is that of what I've just shown you, the chicks which have undeveloped or badly developed navels, and that brings a problem in terms of growth, because I've seen those, they cannot feed. So you'll find that they are, what is this? Oh, I thought that was one of them. So you'll find that their digestive system is not fully developed. Where they pass out stool is not really fully developed, and you literally have to squeeze out stool for it to come out. So I had that experience, 2 of those experiences. So that makes what? If I had 4 underdeveloped birds, I had 2 with those navel problems. That's 6. And that's a lot of money, guys. That's a lot of money you're wasting. So considering the number of chicks that we have here, and considering the price of the chicks right now, this one's going for 105 shillings each. So that should be, so I've actually lost over 600 shillings just for the first day, and they're not even mature yet. So you see, this is a problem with the hatching companies. They don't sort out those issues, guys. So 1 week, guys, 1 week into the brooding process, and let's just take a look at this. The coloring is off because we have covered the open spaces with some kind of a tarpaulin, yellow in color, but it's bringing some nice light for the chicks. And let me just switch to this view so that you can see what's happening. So week 3, guys, and sorry, rather, this is the first week. Actually, first week. This is 8th day. This is day 8, and these are the results. Look at this. The chicks are grown. They are jumping around. They are happy. The place is warm. So that's a nice feeling for the birds. Some are just chilling right there. Some are asleep maybe. The way I'm talking, I think that's what's alerting them. So that's why they're looking at me like that. But some are sleeping. You can see in the corner right here. Some are sleeping right there. So a number of changes, guys. Not many changes, but just a number of changes. You can see the birds are able to jump around like that, run around, because we have just expanded the brooder. It was up to this section right here, up to this pillar right there, and it was quite big. For 500, it was quite big. They were fitting right there quite well, but I noticed that the place was getting the, what is this? I don't know if you can see that. The floor, there's a lot of poop on the floor like that, and it was getting dirty like that and smelly. Actually, there was some foul smell that was starting to come out from the dust, from the litter. So I had to make some changes, obviously just to extend the brooder size like that. So this is the section you have extended. You have added some Jico there. There's that one that you're using, but this one is very inefficient when it comes to brooding because it's open. It's an open Jico, therefore it takes in a lot of, it's quite big. It takes in a lot of charcoal, and then it doesn't really conserve it. So this one does the work. I had to bring in a new one like this one. So this one, it taps now, instead of heat escaping, as you know, warm air goes up. So instead of that warm air going up, it is actually trapped down. So when you feel this section is very warm, guys, nicely warm. That's where the chicks are. You can see, very comfortable, very happy. They're full like that. Now compared to that, which takes in a lot of charcoal and it's open on both sides, I didn't really think about that when I was making this. So that is a disadvantage for it. because it consumes a lot of charcoal at a very short period of time. You put it in like a, I have a bag of charcoal, and then it will last for like what? The most it can go is 4 hours, and then it cools off. The heat escapes like that, and then you don't have really the results that you wanted. But this one, it's very efficient. The person who made this thought about this, and it's a very brilliant idea. So another update, guys, apart from the expansion of this brooder, is actually the weight of the birds, which I want to weigh right now. But look at the feathers, guys. Look at the feathers. It's just 1 week, and look at the tail feathers are starting to come out. Look at that tiny, cute tail feathers starting to come out. Look at the wing feathers are out. That's why the chicks are able to fly around, jump around like that. This is just a nice feeling. Nice feeling. Wait, let me get the scale so that we do the measurement. Now the place is big enough. You can see we can walk in. There's a walk in like that. There's water, and then there's feeds, and then all these spaces just for walking in. These are entry. These are entry right here. Let me see. So you can see the arrangement is quite well. You have feeds close to the heat, and then water on this side. So once you feed, you feel like you want to, fill up with water, you move to this side, you get water. It's very close, less than a meter away. Now you can see we have some ventilation there at the top. We have put some 1 foot for ventilation, just because the chickens are starting to eat a lot, and the poop is just a lot. So that's why we need that. We need to get rid of those ammonia gases from the coop, so that the place becomes habitable for the chicks, so that you don't have diseases on the chicks like that. So it's a very small ventilation, and of course there's more if you look at this side, for that tarpaulin, that side, there's more ventilation cover for this particular area. So it's a very perfect, nice area. There's no smell at this particular time. There's no smell, unlike the moment we had that small brooder section right there. You can see some of the chicks are chilling right there in the corner, right there. Yeah, that's a cool spot to chill. Also a cool spot like that, and that also is a cool spot. And then also this one. The best one is this one, which is close to the heat and food. So let me get the scale. And let's weigh the chicks. Because of course we want to take the records, make sure that the chicks are doing well in terms of not just health, but also weight of the birds, because that's what sells actually. The weight of the birds is what actually sells. So 4 bags gone so far. How many are remaining? Those are 5. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5. Is it 5? Yeah. 5 bags remaining of starter crumbs right there. This place is super cold, guys. It rained 2 days ago, and it's been super cold. This place, the temperatures are dropping all the way to 18 degrees. That's unheard of during this particular time of the year. This is 6th month of the year, but we never get to that coldness, guys. So it's been a super cold. So those are 5 bags remaining, and then this is the 4th one, and this should be a Tuesday. This is a Friday, so this should be day, oh my god, day 10. Yeah, exactly, day 10, and 4 bags have been consumed so far. There were 9, so meaning that one. So let's see. Of course I sleep there. It's a very separate room from the rest of the compound. It's a bit far, so somebody has to be here for the first 3 weeks. Somebody has to be here. So just a quick check here. We have some, what do you call this? So I managed to get let me just put some light here. I managed to get what you call briquettes. So they're right here. These are huge, you can see. It's quite expensive compared to the charcoal, which we have almost completely run out of. 3 bags, they're gone. Less than 2 weeks, they're gone. That's a lot of consumption, and I wasn't just using the bags only. So look at these briquettes. Now I don't know how these are made, but I think there's a process on how to make them. That's why they're a bit, just a little bit more expensive than a bag of, let's say, charcoal, like that. So I also have some backup there. So I don't know, some wood there, some backup. Of course, the feeds we haven't connected those because should be doing that in third week or fourth, once the chickens have gained some height. So let's look at that. Of course, I sleep there. This is my little bed right there, and the place is looking not so tidy. You can see that some some what do you call those are feeding troughs for the chickens. So let's look at the brooder, guys. These are day 10. Let's see. So what happened these so far? So what's happened so far? So look at that. Of course, if you're looking through the camera, because there's a nice, yellow light. This is coming from the covers right there. We made some covers from the sacks that we use actually bringing the feeds. So we made some covers, just stitch them together and then you get a nice cover, because there is actually one side of them is actually paper waterproof, because there's a thin line of paper right there. So they're very helpful in that particular case. Now it's actually 3 p.m. There, so you can see the chickens are asleep or just relaxing. Now they're looking at me because of this, because I'm talking. The attention, I'm bringing it to the area. That's why they're all staring at me like that. So we have a jiko right there. The chickens are growing. This should be what? This should be reaching about 250 grams so far. They should be going all the way to 250. Yeah, they're gaining weight. Should be going all the way to 250. So the first week they're supposed to be around 200 grams. So 230 or so grams. This is the first week, but this is day 10, so I believe they should have gained some more weight, and they're consuming a lot considering the amount of bags that we already used so far. So look at that. The chickens are healthy. The small birds that we usually have, I think most of them have died. Those ones don't actually survive. They die. Like, they, whether you feed them well, whether you give them what, they will just die, because they haven't developed well from the hatchery. Therefore, the chances of them surviving the week 3 or week 2, it's very difficult. I was actually looking for one of them. It's very weak legs, just malnourished, yet it's feeding. I don't think I can find it here. You can see some of them are starting to play in the sawdust. I think we need some light there. Yeah, some light there in the sawdust. You can see this one. It's developing stronger legs. So I don't know if you heard that, but there's some sneezing that's going on, because it was very cold the other 2 days. For the past 2 days, it's been very cold. And the chickens, keeping this huge place. So the day I expanded the brooder, that's when it rained heavily. And this being a new building, of course, there are just corrections that have to be made. Some of the water got in right from the top right there. So I think maybe one of those mabatis is actually there's a hole in it, so that's what is letting in water. So some of water got into the building, and that actually has to be corrected. So you can hear some sneezing because of the cold that we have been experiencing for the past 24 or 48 hours. And keeping this huge brooder warm is quite taking up a lot of money and a lot of energy, guys. So hopefully they will get through it. I've administered some some antibiotics. I went to a vet, they recommended that some antibiotics, they should work so far, but I haven't seen any major difference in terms of, or any major problem in terms of the health of the birds, apart from that cold they experience. So there's some sneezing from the chickens, or coughing, something like that. So but the chickens are healthy, they're eating, they're consuming. Look at this. These are 3 kg and it's almost done. It's almost gone, like that. It's halfway gone. This one is almost halfway also. I think I need to cover that. with that so that we consume that power. Then I should also close this. It's a lot of air getting in, and it's getting smoky in here. So this is day 10 of raising broilers, guys. So this should be the case so far. If you are considering raising broilers for this particular day, you consider measuring. You should be measuring rather weighing the weight of the birds, so that you will determine exactly at the end of the 7 days how much weight have they gained, because it's all about weight gain. That's our target here. Quick, faster weight gain. That would be essential for development, rather for slaughter when it comes to week 4. So if you are thinking of disposing your birds and the 4th week, then weight gain has to be the priority, guys. Generally, the general health of the birds has to be our priority. So let's all right. So this is the 13th day for since we started raising or feeding these broilers. Now this is what we're just giving them feeds. It's morning, so we're doing the feeding right here. Now you notice that we have graduated from those small, let me just get closer to this small 5 kg feeders to these 10 kg ones, the bigger ones, as you can see right there. You can see them right there. So these are like part 5 or 6. I think we have one more inside, so we should be, let me just fill them up, and then we give them their supper, rather breakfast. We just woken up, so let's take a look at that. Take a look at the chicks right there. They're grown. Let me get the camera to the level. You can see that. Look at that. So that's 13 days, almost 2 weeks. That's the size, guys. That's the size. Look at that. So I believe the progress is good. Tomorrow when the scale arrives, I should be weighing them. They're a bit jumpy. Some are tired, some are sleeping or just relaxing like that. Some are feeding right there in the distance. So let's just give them more of these feeds. Let's give them more of these feeds right here. So 2 days ago we gave them their first or rather the second Newcastle plus IB vaccine. Because it was their first week, it should be administered in the first week, or rather after 10 days you should give them the Newcastle, and then after 14 days, just before the 21st day, you should give them the Gumboro vaccine. So after that, then we are done with the vaccinations, guys. So we just wait for the 3 weeks, and then we slaughter them like that. You have 5 bags remaining. Are they 5? No, those are 4 bags remaining. I think this one should be done today because I want to fill these up. Now normally you want the chicks to access the feeds all the time, so that they gain weight faster. That's what sells around here. I keep repeating that because that is the main point. Weight gain equals to quick money. So if they're not gaining weight, it means they're eating or there's something wrong with that. So still finishing with the starter crumbs. Very nice, although a bit fatty, because I've noticed that the chickens are still, some of them are still pooping those diarrhea, that brown diarrhea. So I noticed just because of the feeds. It's not a disease I thought I had, because I've given them lots of medications, but it doesn't seem to be going away. If it was maybe something like fall typhoid, or not fall typhoid, but something like coccidiosis, or maybe salmonella salmonellosis. What is that word there? It's not something to do with the CDR. This camera is not clear. Come on, is it even visible? Oh, okay. So yeah, that's the word. Salmonellosis, I think that's it. So if it wasn't really something to do with that, because this one is very effective. This is a teleodoxide. This is a very effective medication. Therefore, you expect the chicks to be healed within 3-4 days. Oh, notice that we had some casualty yesterday. So it is one of those smaller chicks. I told you guys, I keep reminding you that smaller chicks will not survive any of these guys, because smaller, let me be specific, smaller and underweight chicks, when you hold a chick in your hand, you should be able to just know this is an underweight chick, because it doesn't have that fatty deposit at the at its back like that, in its abdomen like that. So the chick is just small, very tiny. It weighs way less than 10 grams. So you know that this chick is going nowhere. It will just die. Even if you feed it for like 3 weeks, it will just die, because the body is not built up to the hatchery. The body was not built up to the stage where it can actually accommodate all that fat and all that, go through all those conditions. Therefore the bird will actually die, guys. And a number of that, apart from that, we have other diseases which just affect the chickens. Anybody, or whether a person or a chicken which is just hatched badly, or somebody born with any difficulty, any disease in the body, they are not likely to survive, live for a longer period of time. So the same way to chicks like that. So they will not survive. The same way to chicks, if you are given chicks which have unhealed, or are those unhealed narvals, you are likely they are going nowhere. They will die. That's the truth. They will die immediately, or after a few days they will just die, because digestion won't go anywhere, and it just won't happen. It won't tackle the the changes in the environment. So let me just fill up this 10 kg. Now I want to stock feeds rather, so that in the morning, rather in the evening, we have them. I don't want to be moving all over, still feeding the chicks. Let me just stock these up. So the advantage with these giant feeders is that you can fill up this one, and then you can just go your way. Fill up this one, give them water, and then if you have some activity you want to do, you can go your way. You see, so we have not reached the stage where you have to raise them, but because the chickens are not that tall at this particular point, maybe after week 3, and then we should be getting to the point where we actually hang in these feeders. So it's difficult to weigh the chicks in there, because I haven't given them feed, so just pick one after the other. So I weigh like 5, so that we look at the just the measurements. So that is what, 427 grams right there. This is a week 2, so I'll have to confirm with the scheduling or the projected weight to see. So this is the second one. This one's heavier. It's maybe in the middle. 484 grams. This is another one. This is a 405 or 407 grams, like that. Let me pick the 5th one. So we have the 4th one. This is a 474 grams, right there. Let me pick the last one. So this one's going all the way to what, 489 grams. Yeah, like that. So that's the average. You can find the average from that. And I'll have to check with the schedule to know if it's going with what is expected, or this is just it's way below or what is expected. So let me just check with the the program, the monitoring program that of the weights that have been given, to see if it's actually coinciding with what is expected. So 15th day, this is a Wednesday. This is a day 15. Look at this, the chicks are getting whiter and whiter, and which means the feathers are growing. And as you can see, the spread is even, because it's actually at close to what, it's 10 in the night. and we are setting up our our extra heat source of heat. These are, well, let me just turn on the light for that to see. So we have an extra source of heat there. We have this Jiko, and then the stove right there in the distance. It's already heated. You can see there's some heat from it. This one is a bit smoky for now because there's some wood we put there so that just quicken the process to make the lighting quicker. What I want to show you guys quickly is actually the tiny insects, rather chicks that I was talking about. And you can see right there in the distance, you can see that chick that's not moving, right? That about there. Let me get close for you to, so that I show you what's happening. Now, as others are getting bigger, look at this. As others are getting bigger, the belly is getting bigger. As you can see, the extension right there. Others are, others smaller. The smaller ones are not growing, so these chicks are not actually sorted out when you buy them from the brooder. Let me just get close so that I show you this chick, tiny chick that I'm talking about. It's right here. Just compare the two. Look at it, the tiny, inactive. The tiny feathers are growing, but I don't think guys is going anywhere. This one weighs what? At most it should be 50 grams. This is week 3. This is week 2, and a few more days. At most 50 grams. Even though the crop is full, you can just feel it. The crop is full. It has eaten some feeds, but you can see it's inactive. It's not, just lethargic like that. And the feed consumption, you find it mostly it's hiding underneath some of these chicks, the bigger chicks, which are these ones. And then because of that, the smaller size, you find that it's not producing heat of its own from its own body, because it's not consuming that much compared to the rest, the bigger ones, which are consuming a lot of feeds right now. This being week 2, we are slowing down on the heating now because it's actually at 10. We have to maintain a certain temperature, but you can see the spread is very nice. You can see the spread is very nice for the chicks, all the way to that distance. You can see all the way to, if you look at the brooder, the spread is very nice. Very nice. Some sleeping right there. Some, if I just do a 360, you can see some of that. So we've added some extra feeds because these bigger feeders are way better, because we just have to feed them once, and then you wait for 24 hours for them to finish, and then you come back and then refill again. So as you can see, these ones we filled them yesterday, they are done, so that, and we have filled them again, so which means up to tomorrow at maybe 9 or 10 in the evening, that's when we refill them. Now what we have to refill constantly is actually the water, which they are consuming a lot at this particular time. So look at that. Now the consumption is increasing because the chicks just hit about 400 and about 500 grams. Now this being week 2, they should be 500 grams if you are feeding them properly, but mine are a bit lower. To the highest, the maximum should be at 500, but it's not an even spread, but it is an average spread. So 500 to maybe 550 grams, but mine are not that much, because as you can see or hear, there's some coughing going on with the chicks. So I was told that when I called a vet, I was told that look at the temperature. It's 26.8 and it's very far away from the heat source, so which means the chicks are producing their own heat, which is actually good, because you need that so that you slow down the cost of heating, because it's very expensive. The charcoal is actually, the briquettes are very expensive, guys. So what was I talking about now? So like that, now when the chickens are producing their own heat like that, you expect a slowdown in terms of we slow down in terms of the heating. We reduce the heating so that they just maintain their body temperature like that as they consume the feeds. Also this one is a bit smaller. Yeah, look at it. I think it's a female. It is small but not really underweight, but it's eating right there. This is some of the feeders right there. Some of the chicks are feeding. Okay, let me just move this. Now I think by tomorrow we should have
extended these feeders to this level, because I can see the chicks are up to that level. But maybe they just wait towards the end of the week, because if I raise them, it would be a bit difficult to access the fish, because these are the feeders are a bit deep, as you can see, compared to the neck size of the chicken. Maybe you have to wait for week 3, so just have to deal with the cleaning of those that dirt every time. The advantage is they are bigger feeders, therefore it doesn't really interfere with the feeding. There is little or no poop at all in these feeders, as you can see, compared to the smaller ones. There's so many advantages with these ones. So I think by week 3, when you're done with the week 3, you should be able to raise the feeder, so that they are at par with the height of the back of the chicks, like that, which I believe should be next week, and they should be bigger at that particular time, or taller, an inch taller. That should be fine, so that we raise the feeders, and then possibly we expand the brooder. As you can see, it's filled up. It's filled up like that. It's filled up. If I just do a 360, you can see that it's filled up. Now when you add the space for the feeders and the watering, you can see the space is getting smaller. And this is just week 2, starting week 3. 15 days, and we are here. So day 18, we are doing our vaccinations right now. This is a Gumboro vaccine. That's the IBV vaccine. I'm within the required date, so that should be within the 3 weeks. You should be done with the vaccinations for broilers, because I believe by the 4th week they should be ready for the market. In some places, regarding the weight gain of the birds, by 4 weeks they should be ready. So within the first 3 weeks you should be done with the vaccination. So today's day 18, and I think this is our last vaccination for the season, or for this cycle. Well, the chicks were very, as you can see, they are struggling to get the very least drop of water, because they were very thirsty. I left them for like 2 hours, just to get them thirsty, so that when we put their water, they are able to take a lot of it, like that. So that's it. Look at this. Look at that. The struggle is on, and this is perfect for chicks which are growing at this rate. They need a lot of water, by the way, so that's why it just be available all the time. So all the drinkers are done. This should be like 10 minutes at most, or less. 10 minutes or less. I see all the drinkers are done, maybe except for that one. Yeah, I think it's done. Also, I put in a very small amount of water, so that just you don't want to overmix the the vaccine, because you don't want to overdilute it. That's the correct word. Overdilute the vaccine and then get the chicks just drinking plain water. So you have to use a very small amount of water, so that just a single drop is enough for the chicks to actually get the doses. Yeah, like that. So exactly week 3, this is the 3rd week, 21 days to be exact. So we have expanded the brooder. Let me just move further away, so that well, you can see the cover. It's a bit tall. It's a bit tall, as you can see. All the way to that, we made a zip. You can just pass through it, because it's difficult to get through the other corners right there, and then the other sides, because of this pipe right here. It's a pipe. It's supposed to be a water pipe running all the way through, just to make sure that the chicks get access to water throughout all the time. But that process is not really working. Some ideas work, some don't. See, so there's a pipe running through all the way, with some cup feeders, rather drinkers in it. So it runs all the way to that section, all the way. You see. So it was supposed to be a good idea, but sometimes the idea works, sometimes it doesn't. You can see we've expanded. There's a lot of ventilation in that area right there. Now we can't open this side because of the you can see the cover is going all the way into the the iron sheet, so it's difficult to open that side. But this one has a hanger like that. As you can see, there's a hanger right there, so you can see that's perfect. You can open on this side. As the chicks get bigger and bigger, turn into chickens, bigger adult chickens. So as I said, this is the third week exactly, and you can look at the chicks, you can look at the size. It is something you can eat. You see, now we just measure that it's ringing all the way to 700 grams. Some are already 780, some are in 670 grams. So that's the range. They're playing within 670 all the way to 800 grams. So in this third week. So I don't know if I'm good or I'm bad, or where am I lying in that particular section. Now the chickens were a bit sick in the first 2 weeks, so maybe that should have contributed to the problem. But right now they're supposed to be, I think, 1 kg. Yeah. So if you dispose them at the fourth week, maybe they should be what 1.5 kilos, 1.4 kilos. So which means the third week they should be bigger than that, should have hit a kilo. But maybe check out this one. I think it should be the biggest right there. The one that is escaping right there, it's getting away. It's a bit bigger compared to the rest. Now remember that broilers are male and female, so they don't pick out particulars. It is just male and female. So the smaller size ones like these ones is a female. Look at that, and then others are male, and then you find that other females are also bigger, but generally the bigger size are males. So you can discover that later in the fifth or sixth week when the combs start growing. Look at those guys, look at that, 800 grams of meat right there. So this is something you can eat. It's a bit smaller, but 800 grams is something you can eat. The feet have developed, you can see that. The wings have developed, the feathers, there are feathers right there. You can see the feathers, you can see. So they're gonna cover themselves. They're producing a lot of heat, guys, which means you don't really need heat at this particular time. But I'll just put some heat because it has rained. I'll just put on just some heat, just to make sure the temperatures are maintained. Look at that. Just some all the basic features are grown like that. You can see the fat in that abdomen right there. That's the fat, actually, the accumulation of fat. You can see like this one. Yeah, this is the fat in the abdomen like that. So you can see that. So the chickens are growing, and you can see the particular features are coming out. All of them have come out. So this is a particularly grown chicken. You can actually eat this. Now it won't be, the parts won't be really big, but in 3 weeks, guys, this should be ready. That should be the 6th week, and this should be ready. It should be ready, guys. So look at that. I'm forced to expand the brooder because look at that section all the way. Look at the corners, guys. They've been covered all the way to that. For some reason, they prefer to sleep, closer to the edges of the building and not in the middle. I think the reason is because of the middle is where we put the feeds. So feeds plus water, we put them in the middle like that, in this section, and then that column like that, so that they can be able to access this. But for some reason, you can see all the chickens are sleeping, you see, at the edge of the building like that, all the way to that, all the way to that. Look at those also. So in the distance right there. So also have some here in this corner, sleeping here like that. Look at that, guys. This is nice looking meat. I'm actually tempted to, slaughter one of them and then test the meat, guys. I know to be super, soft at this particular time. Even the legs, which are supposed to be hardy, but they will be super soft. You don't have to boil this one. Should be super ready like that. So this is the week 3, guys. This space is this is like 3/4 of the space right now. which I'm using, and these are just 500. So I'm wondering, will they be able, if I bring in 1,000 chicks, will they be able to occupy the remaining space, guys? Because this is just 3/4 of the space. So I don't know. Maybe you just have to try it. You just these things you have to, you have to try them out. And if it doesn't work out, of course, you just have to, you'll get a solution to them. But you have to try out and then see what happens. But I was hoping the building can accommodate even 1,100 chickens. Oh, look at that thing, guys. Now I've come to, conclusion that these are just feeds, guys, and it has nothing to do with the diseases, guys. In the first week, I thought it was a disease on an outbreak on the farm or in this building, but I've just come to realize that the brown, diarrhea is just feeds, guys. There's just too much protein. There's a lot of protein, which some of this cannot be digested, so that just comes out like that. So just protein, because the chicks have been well, even from that first week they started diarrheaing like that brown diarrhea. So none of them have died because of that particular thing. I administered some antibiotics in the first week, but it's just the thing, guys. It's the feeds. It is not a disease, guys. So I was a bit worried. So don't be worried if you notice something like that, because I made a call to maybe a vet, and the conclusion was the same. It is just maybe the feeds. Now you don't want to rush to an agrovet with that particular condition, because they give you some antibiotics thinking that it is something disease, caused by a disease, but it is not. Now the chickens need feeding. That's why they are very noisy at this particular time. I have not given them the feeds because broilers, guys. Let me just note this point here, guys. These are birds. We are forcing them to grow to 1.5, 1.8 kilos in 4 weeks, or 2 kilos in 4 weeks, which is something that naturally cannot happen for chicks this size. So we are forcing them to grow to that particular size within that short period of time. Therefore, you expect the chickens to die of various ailments. One of them being, heart attack, something like that. Maybe cancer at a particular time. You see, so you have so many sudden deaths causing the chicks to actually die. So you don't want to get surprised when the chickens start dying one by one. You see, because we are just forcing the muscles to expand at a very fast rate, and the heart is also actually being forced to actually expand at that particular rate. Therefore, the chickens will just sometimes they just collapse. They just go into that state when the chicken when somebody gets a heart attack like that. You see the chicken straining the muscles and then bending the neck like that, and then like that. Just one of them just died today, and I just lost one of them today due to that. That was just the situation. That's what happened. You see, so you expect the chickens to die one by one at that particular time. So at any particular point. Now, what we do in that particular stage, we actually reduce on the amount of feeds that we are giving them. Now, if I want these chickens to grow to maybe 5 months, 6 months, I'll have to cut on the feeds that I'm giving them. I'll have to also cut on the proteins that I'm giving them in the feeds, like that. So that's why we have finisher pellets, which have less protein in them, and they're able to actually more energy in them to actually to help the chicken grow, develop the muscles. Maybe not that fast, but just fast enough. You see, like that. So if you don't want the chickens die, because we are at this particular time, I understand that the guys who are doing these are in very huge quantities. People have 50,000, 100,000 chicks, and they want them to reach a particular amount of weight in maybe 4 weeks or maybe 6 weeks. So they feed them, like seriously, they feed them as provide feeds all the time. So that's why you get the chickens dying, you see, because they're eating a lot and their body is expanding to levels which have never been seen, which are not natural, you see. So maybe a heart can actually break like that. The heart can actually burst like that. Just so many ailments. Some of them can't even jump up, you see, that because of the fat. Look at that. That's a fat layer right there. Look at that. That's not normal for a chicken. It's not normal. Look at that fat layer right there. So are you seeing that? Yeah, that extension right there, that's actually excess fat in the body, you see. So the chicken cannot jump up, cannot jump onto the the feeders like that. Maybe if you expect the normal behavior of the birds to actually go on, but this one is not happening. They can only do that for a very short period of time because they are very heavy, guys. They are very heavy. The muscles are very heavy, and the chickens are not active because they are all the time they are feeding. They are feeding. Their body demands that food be given to it so that the muscles continue expanding. So those are some of the reasons, guys. You'll find your chickens are dying one by one, and don't be surprised. It's not a disease. If you have taken care of biosecurity, it's not a disease. But because if it's a disease, you'll know that it won't just be one, but actually there'll be many. There'll be some inactive, some of them will be inactive. You see the normal particulars of a disease. Some of them become lethargic, they are not active, they're not feeding like that. So you know it's a disease. But if the chickens are just dying one by one, you see the chicken are struggling to breathe, something like that, you know that it's just a normal death occurring on the farm because you are forcing the chicken to expand its muscles, the heart muscles like that, especially the heart, guys. If you force the heart to expand to levels that you have never witnessed before, that are not normal naturally, you'll find that it cannot cope with the pressure. Therefore, you see, you get things like a heart attack like that. So that's it, guys. Let me continue feeding them. Let me feed them for now, and then it's almost 7, as you can see outside. That's outside. It's almost 7. This is 6:30. It's almost 7. So I'm starting this being week 3, guys. You have to start limiting on the feeds that you are giving the birds, guys. Also start limiting on the time. So maybe you can give them twice a day, feed them twice a day like that, maybe 3 times, and then you reduce on the feeds that you are giving them so that you give them space to actually jump around, actually also get time to actually become hungry. You see, give the chicken time to become hungry. I've noticed some of them have actually become hungry because they are noisy. You give them an hour, 2 or 3 hours just to get hungry like that, and let the body demand for more feeds like that. Yeah.